Hello everyone, my name is Mizaluk and welcome to battle number 35 of the Promethean Directive Season 2, where some rather unusual events are taking place at the Chorus Capital. Don't worry, that guy totally did not hit the wall. This battle involves the Stratus Front, and they have chosen to attack the Chorus Capital. This is for a variety of reasons, but basically at this point in the war, people were getting a little bit tired of Chorus's antics and some of the potentially over-generous advantages given to them. And as I mentioned in my previous long-form post-battle voiceover, Event Help and I do our best to make battles and wars fun and interesting, and in Chorus's case, that involve giving them some buffs. It also involves us being willing to drop a wall on their capital as a massive flex, which is what's happening here. So this is reusing some assets from Season 1. Funnily enough, the most viewed video on the Mizaluk YouTube channel right now is a 1,200 view Battle of Furland checkpoint, where that same exact airship, I think with minor aesthetic differences, dropped a different wall, or dropped a mountain, sorry, not a wall. And that was something that was built by Komomo and Helios for their cooperation. But in this time around, we made I just hot swapped the mountain for that wall because I thought it'd be a lot funnier. And that's what we went with for this battle. And it was immensely entertaining to be there in person. I need to at some point release the out-of-game recording because it was really funny. Just watching the group chat, hearing the screams of Braveheart and all of the funny comments whenever stuff like the wall did stuff. Right here, we're going in to destroy the docking station to get the wall to drop right there. And you see it just annihilated one of the defenses. It tried to drop earlier in the battle, but I was talking over it, so I didn't mention it out then. But for some reason, the release was messed up, maybe because I quickly swapped out the blueprint, but we just manually made it drop. But yeah, so this battle, we've got the wall carrier, a Sanctus Lux, and then the other airship that you saw with the big ram blade on it, which is meant to be actually ramming the ground structures, but it was not working properly. And then there's also two longer range airships, which are edited to fit the SF style. Here we see a ram taking place, because of course vehicles do that. But the one airship that crashes hits the wall. And the other one, well, I was about to say almost hits it. It does hit it. The only thing that my ramming airship managed to ram in this battle was its own vehicles. Which is slightly suboptimal, but it was still funny to have happen. Now, really, this battle is just going to be a lot of the airships and the wall do minor things, while Sanctus Lux just burns through the defenses slowly, one at a time. The defenses are on the player team, which is why you won't see them despawning. They'll just kind of get burnt to the ground, and then they'll lose target prio. But yeah, this was a long battle. It was close to an hour, but definitely a fun one. Whatever you say about the Chorus drama, at least the battles are entertaining. This battle also included 5 of these little tin men, I think, tin soldiers, which originally did not fly correctly and crashed into the water and got despawned, which I edited out. And then during the battle, Fally, I think it was, went back into the blueprint and fixed that issue, so they got respawned in midway through. And they're really cool little flying mechs with flamethrowers, packs, and APS. and they really add a lot to the ambiance. So the audio settings on a lot of these videos are always pretty scuffed because I've got a bunch of different people recording it, and I'm not very good at controlling audio or volume channels myself. So this battle we ended up with really good and loud in-game audio, which was kind of nice. But previous battles, a lot of them just don't have any in-game audio or it's exceptionally quiet. And a lot of the previous uploads ended up having my voice really quiet. I should have settings now that fix that. I figured I just need to normalize everything to 0 decibels, and it works pretty well. But it's always a balancing act, as I'm still getting used to this YouTube thing now that I'm over 100 videos in between my 2 channels. But for me, the YouTube has never been the highest of priorities, so it usually gets a little bit glossed over in terms of like quality. I care a lot about getting good quality for the roleplay interactions and for the maps and stuff, but YouTube videos I don't care quite as much about, because it's not something I'm as experienced with, and it's not the game for me as much. For me, the game is always the roleplay and the maps. The battles are just a thing that needs to happen to make it work, which is kind of weird, as that's the opposite perspective as a lot of people have. For tournaments like this, a lot of them view the battle as the main thing. But for me, it is unfortunately more than I would like, somewhat of a nuisance just to get them all recorded, because it eats up so much time. And that's a lot of why I want battle filming to be a dedicated separate role for whomever runs Season 3 should it happen. That airship that crashed there, we went ahead and used explosive and fire debug to scuttle it, because that's canonically what the Stratus Front would do to any airship that gets crashed. They would burn it in place, either with a Sanctus Lux if they have one, as canonically happened in the previous Chorus Capital battle, or in this case, because that is a Sanctus Lux, it can just set itself on fire. And some of the other airships may or may not have helium or hydrogen available. Canonically, the Flammenwerfer that was the basis for the Sanctus Lux, and this guy too, actually used a very special, like lighter than nothing, effectively, lifting gas, which sounds impossible and is impossible except for the way that physics work in the world of the Promethean Directive, because part of the setting being involved on an Alderson disk is that those don't actually work. Like, there's no way to make them stable because there's not going to actually be enough gravity to pull you down. So in universe, there's an extra fundamental force that serves to hold the disk together, kind of like charging a plate positive and another plate negative like magnets. Except that also affects things weirdly on a smaller scale, where you can get, if you have a small amount of the opposite side's material on your side, it actually gets repelled by the ground. And that is the canon reason, if you're ever wondering, why the Avum airships have pretty small gas bags and still have fairly thick armor. Definitely a justification that I made up kind of after the fact, because I liked the ratio of weapons to gas bag and wanted a way for it to be vaguely logical, and that was what I came up with. So I think most airships, that like extra heavy airships, in Season 1 canonically used that method. There was an extra resource called Other Sidium that no one ever really thought about the name of. That was what was needed for airships that are heavier than really light ones, but not full thruster craft. But I kind of did away with that explanation in Season 2, because I got rid of that resource and it wasn't really needed. But, yeah. Here we see another one of the airships. This was one that got grounded behind the wall, and then has now escaped that spot and gone on to ram multiple defenses, which is really funny and super based. This thing may have crashed, but it is going to take out defenses no matter what else. And they just vanish because it's got enough kinetic energy. It's really funny. But we also decide to scuttle that one. We'll get to it in a second. And, yep, there you go. Getting scuttled. And it's still going to manage to ram a third one, just watch. But really entertaining battle. The lasers are kind of off and on, activating from the wall. Really, it's the Sanctus Lux doing almost all the heavy lifting. Although the 10 men near the end also did a lot, the 10 soldiers. Because they've got pretty good APS and they can move around a lot quicker than the Lux can. Yeah, part of the point of this battle as well was to take out some of the extra defenses that the Chorus Capital got as part of an extra special project thing I let them do. Because at this point, some of their neighbors were really kind of tired of fighting them, and because they were a event-boosted faction, we took a certain amount of responsibility for making sure that everyone's having fun, them and their neighbors included. So interventions like this were part of that, and do expect changes to Chorus to come. I know no one over there wants the full eternal death hyper war with them. But anyway, that is it for this battle. That's all the defenses killed, and I'm going to clip away before my airship rams one of the 10 men. Thank you all for watching. Enjoy this quick look at that guy. Alright, bye.